Hey, it's me, your boomer consumer, and this is not going to be my kind of ordinary video where I talk about tech or I'm reviewing a product, but rather about something that just recently happened to me. Now, something I've kind of, told my kids, grandkids, and so forth. It's really never the things that you worry about that come to pass, but rather that unexpected thing that comes out of the clear blue on a Tuesday afternoon. Well, in my case, it actually came Friday evening when I went and got the mail. I received a letter from the state of Kentucky telling me that my pandemic unemployment assistance had been approved for X number of dollars, just around 600 bucks, for I think a grand total of around $6,600. That was quite a shock. They also had my social security number on the letter, my address, and so forth, even though I live in the state of Indiana. So, needless to say, it's very clear that I am the victim of some form of identity theft. Now, I'm going to guess that data was taken through the Equifax data breach. Let's kind of wind the clock back to May of 2017, going on 4 years ago. Over 146 million Americans had their name, address, date of birth, social security number taken by hackers from Equifax. And it's been a big, big mess and certainly a pain for a lot of people. Fast forward to today, with the pandemic and many states having their unemployment offices and websites just totally crushed with all the claims, it's very easy now for scammers to get through and really create a lot of fraudulent claims for unemployment. And I am not the only one. This is happening at greater and greater frequency. As I research what's going on, people are finding that they go to apply for unemployment only to find out that the benefits already been used up. And also, they're getting what's called Form 1099-G, which is what your state sends you because unemployment benefits are taxable. And they're finding out they owe taxes on thousands of dollars that they never applied for, never received. And that creates a heck of a mess with the Internal Revenue Service. A little bit more about that later. So the first thing I did was try to research who to contact at the state of Kentucky. Being that it's a Friday evening, couldn't reach anybody. Finally found a phone number for their fraud unit. However, it was closed. You can send an email to them, about which I did. But what do you do next? Well, the next thing is that I visited a website called identitytheft.gov and created a case. And this is a very important thing to do. This goes into the Federal Trade Commission's database of identity theft victims. And I'll explain to you why this is going to be important a little bit later in the video. So I did that, and then there's a process that they put you through. Well, I shouldn't say put you through, but to assist in, quote, reclaiming your identity. But it really boils down to this. The main purpose of identity theft has generally been getting loans and credit cards, using somebody else's credit file and information, then not paying the bill, which can ruin your credit or certainly make your life very, very difficult for a long time. The average amount, I did some research, the average amount of time that it can take to clear your name from identity theft can be from as low as 100 hours to months. And you're not compensated for that. Although there might be still some compensation from Equifax during their settlement, but that's for a different video. So the first piece of advice after you complete that form is to either, basically freeze your credit. That's, I think, the best thing that you can do. You can do fraud warnings and that kind of thing. But I actually did a credit freeze. But you have to do it each and every repository, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And you got to do that right away, because even though I have not done it and there's not been any inquiries on my credit, other than the ones that I have tried to do. Now I know for certain that the bad guys are out there, and they're going to start using my numbers up. Bottom line, my numbers up, and I don't know whether they're going to try to apply for PUA in another state. I don't even know if you can. I haven't researched that point yet, but nonetheless, that's what's going on there. So I created a case. They also advise you to create a police report. Now, again, this is going to be important to create a police report involving the identity theft. What you're doing is you're putting together documentation, because here's what's going to happen, and here's what's happening to folks. They're getting these 1099s. The IRS gets a copy, and they're going to link that to your account and say you owe taxes on this amount of money. Well, in order to say, look, I'm a victim here, you've got to actually, the IRS will not accept anything from you. Rather, you've got to get a amended 1099-G from that state. And that is where people's having a lot of difficulty. Even though they've talked to, when they can get through, and told, yeah, everything will be fine, thanks for letting us know, they still get the 1099. So when they try to get the corrected 1099s, they can't get through. They can't get those resolved. And so you have to have this documentation in order to avoid paying the taxes on it. It's also causing people that now are trying to get unemployment can't get it because the benefits were used up by these scammers. Now, who is behind this? Well, the FBI tends to think it's a very sophisticated Nigerian criminal ring. I don't know for sure. I'm going to continue investigating these things. Now, I'm constantly monitoring my credit anyway, and I'm keeping a very sharp eye on my bank accounts. Now, credit freezes will prevent lenders from pulling new credit reports. However, it won't necessarily prevent a bad guy from abusing the credit you already have. So it's very, very important to keep a sharp eye on these things, okay? So the other thing that I'm doing, I do have my own business. I do have a CPA. I'm going to get a hold of him first thing on Monday morning and say, we need to talk about any other additional steps. And as I go through this process, from time to time, I will update you on what I'm going through and the hurdles that I have to go through so that, this gets resolved. And hopefully this will be a one and done kind of deal, and I won't have to necessarily deal with that anymore with my credit frozen. But I don't know. The information's out there. As far as I know, there's extremely difficult to change your social security number, if it can really be done at all. We're in very strange times, uncharted waters here with the pandemic. Everything is swamped. These organizations are operating a nominal amount of people due to budget cuts and people working from home or reduced staff. And it's just adding to the nightmare. And, I just wanted to share this with you, what I'm going through. My wife is now going through it with me. It's a very stressful situation. I'll be fine. I'm sure I'll be fine. Fortunately, I do have some resources, but a lot of people don't even have the resources that I have. And it's just a devastating thing to have happened to you. So I'm fighting back as much as I possibly can. And as I do, right, let this video be a warning, number one, because this is really getting intense out there. There's more and more people every day having this particular type of scam happen. And that's very difficult to remediate. And so let it be a warning, but also an educational thing. Make sure that if you really want to be as secure as possible, freeze your credit reports. And now the freezing process, you get a PIN number, and then you can temporarily unfreeze your credit reports if you need a home loan or car or whatever. And you should allow, I think, like 3 business days for the freeze to be lifted. Let the lender pull their credit report. That does not affect your credit score. By the way, freezing your credit doesn't affect your score at all. And then put the freeze back in place. That's probably the best thing that you can do. And as far as the Equifax thing goes, once all that information is out there, yeah, it's there's very little of anything you can do. It's very frustrating, actually. So I wanted to share that with you in this video. Like I said, I will keep you updated from time to time about what's going on and where I'm at with all this. But I just thought I'd let you should know. And we will return back to technology and product reviews in the next upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to your comments down below. Have you been the victim of identity theft? We'd love to hear your stories. Bruce Naylor, your Boomer Consumer. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.